Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is gonna be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and many experts expect up to 5 million jobs to be lost while the Federal Reserve continues to fight inflation. Now, here's the really crazy thing. The best case scenario that many people expect is 1.7 million job losses in the months and years to come. Now, this is especially important because the unemployment rate has essentially been a band-aid that is concealing a bullet wound. So we need to rip off the band-aid and start letting everything heal. We can't let things heal if we're not taking care of the problems. We're going to deep dive into an article that kind of goes into the expected job loss. And then I'm going to also access some Fed economic data charts so that we can see how well off are U.S. households really. Do they have savings? Can they handle job losses? Is there going to be a foreclosure wave? I'm going to access foreclosure charts to show you what happened back in 2006 to 2010 as well. So we're going to look at all of that, guys. And where I'm going to end this video is I'm going to bring in my man, my boss from Amcap Home Loans, who's essentially going to give us a breakdown of what he expects residential mortgage rates to get to through the end of this year and into 2023. So stay tuned for that. That will be at the end of the video. But regardless, we're going to jump into an article that's titled 5 million jobs could be lost in the Fed's war against inflation, analyst says. Now, you guys, this is going to be a short read. That's why I'm going to bring in a lot more other charts here, and I'm going to bring in foreclosure data because, again, I expect this to blow up in our faces. Quite frankly, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but I think it's going to happen right around the corner. But remember this, you guys, I'm not a financial advisor. Even if I want to be yours, even though my bio is as a realtor, loan officer, instructor, and someone that wants Jeff M. and all of my viewers to win in this housing market. And I want you to be prepared for a recession that we're already in, but specifically tremendous job loss. I want you guys to do the best you can. Tremendous job loss. What does that mean? Get another job, start saving your money, right? Things of that nature. And if you guys can, please like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and do me a favor, comment below. But let's get started on this article right now. And you guys, this is the entire article I'm going to be reading. There's also a video if you want to click it and watch the video, but this is really the meat and potatoes. So I really wanted to stick with this. Let's read this. The battle against inflation could strike a major blow in the job market. According to an analyst from RSM on Monday, if the Federal Reserve revises its inflation target to 3%, the economy would still need to slow down, resulting in a loss of about 1.7 million jobs. That would cause the national unemployment rate to rise from 3.5% to 4.6%. And that, researchers said, is the best case scenario. So it's probably going to be way worse, right? If that's the best case scenario. If the Fed focuses on getting inflation to drop back to 2%, up to 5.3 million jobs could vanish. That's a lot of jobs. 5.3 million jobs vanish. Gee. Last week, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell warned that not getting a tight grip on inflation could result in major financial problems in the future. And I say to all of the, all the people that say, oh, it's not going to crash, it's not going to crash. You guys are the real doom and gloomers. You guys are the ones that continue to march people off a ledge in a housing market that you don't yourself even understand. The real doom and gloom is if our housing market doesn't crash and resets, we will have a total catastrophe and meltdown unless this housing market resets. And even if it's not a big reset, I think it's going to be a big reset. But even if it's not a big reset, it still needs to happen. We need to get back to fundamentals. Why? Because we're a society of human beings that live life, that have emotions, right? So it's a lot more than numbers is my point. It's a lot of emotions. It's a lot of self-goal empowerment. And it's also a lot of greed from the institutional investors. But one thing is for sure, we're going to go into a very dark 2023. And in fact, the fall and winter of 2022, I believe is going to show the first signs of things getting dark. I believe it's really going to get out of control after the elections and after the holidays. I think January is going to be a complete nightmare. I think it's going to be all over the news. I think there's going to be job loss. I think there's going to be a housing market crash. I don't think they can cover it up anymore. But the interesting thing is, guys, there's still a lot of fat to trim off of the job market, probably a result of all of the EIDL and PPP loans that were given during COVID. We should expect high demand in the labor market because we paid for it. But here's the really crazy thing. The fact that it can't even last a year without pumping more money into it demonstrates it's all fake. All of the money that was given out, not all, but a lot of the money that was given out was just abused. People were spending it on luxury items instead of what they should have spent it on, which is bettering their business, right? Improving their business, having their business survive through COVID and improving that. So a lot of people didn't do that. There's a lot of people that bought luxury cars, luxury houses. And it's a really, really bad thing. All right. It's a really, really bad thing. And also what's interesting, y'all, is a lot of the jobs that we're seeing, I think we had over 500,000 jobs come into the market, the last report. Most of those jobs are part-time seasonal jobs. They are not full-time 9-to-5 jobs. So again, it's like a Band-Aid. It's like a Band-Aid concealing a bullet hole. It needs to be ripped off and we need to start healing. Now let's bring up the unemployment rate right now to kind of just see where we're at. Take a look. All right, so here's the Fred economic data unemployment rate. And as you guys can see, it's super low. It did go up slightly in August. Okay, so August came out, it's at 3.7 unemployment rate and it was at 3.5. But you guys look at how historically low this is. Even pre-pandemic, the unemployment rate was actually pretty low. It was actually under 4% up until January of 2009. And then it went to under 4% again for a little while, went up in June to 4%. But I mean, it's pretty historically, it's actually been low for quite some time. It's been making look at this. It's been pretty much making a lot of progress until boom, lockdowns, COVID. Obviously, it shot down, more money pumped in, more money pumped in. Oh, there's too much labor demand, not enough employees. Pretty crazy. But again, you guys, this is going to, this is going to surge up. I think we start seeing that pretty soon here from 3 to 6 months. I think it's gonna skyrocket, especially after the holiday season. So keep your eye on that. But now let's talk about if there is job loss, do American households have enough savings to get through that job loss? Take a look at the savings rate right now. Okay, now here's the Fred personal savings rate. Okay, now this is a percentage based on percentage of income. So as you can see here, we are at the lowest personal savings rate in a very, very long time. And it, the graph isn't covering it, but starting in July 2017, the savings rate was 7.6%. So, it kind of went sideways, but overall, it was trending up a little bit, but it was about 7%, 7 to 8%, mainly in 7%. Then we get all of this money and people spend. Then we get more money, people spend. More money, and people are like, you know what? Let's just spend and let's go hard. And that's why they gave us the money. They gave us money to spend. But again, we developed really bad habits. All of the savings has pretty much plummeted. We are at the lowest personal savings rate in a very long time, and especially before pre-COVID. We are saving way less now than we were pre-COVID. So if job losses come, I don't think people are going to be okay. I think if job losses come, people don't have savings, guess what's next? They can't make their mortgage payment. If they can't make their mortgage payment, that's going to add to the foreclosure wave. And what I want to do is let me bring up the data from our last foreclosure crisis to show you guys how quickly foreclosures and non-current status can actually happen. It doesn't have to be slow. It can double in a matter of a year. Take a look at this data. Okay, so the first highlighted rows here is from January 2007, okay? Now, what I want to point out here is it started at about 2.8 million non-current loans, okay? But about a year later, look at it, went from 2.8 to 4.1. And again, this column is non-current status, or people that are on the road to foreclosure and already in foreclosure. It counts everything, all of the defaults, 90, 30, 60 days, foreclosure starts, all of that. Okay. But look at this, from 2008 to 2009, it went up 2 million. Look at that. In 1 year, 2 million more households. And look at from 2009 to 2010, about 1.7 million. Look at that in 1 year. But if you look in 2 years, it went from 4.1 to 7.8 in just 2 years. So again, I tell you guys, we're in 40-year high inflation. Unlike back then, the foreclosure, even though we're not in a crazy foreclosure crisis right now, I'm telling you guys, the bubble is getting bigger. It can collapse. And if you're not prepared, you're going to get caught into that. And you don't want to get caught up in that. Trust me when I tell you, you don't want to get caught up in that. You have the ability to do something about it right now. So in conclusion, here's where I'm at. We got to, again, double down on our preparation right now. And essentially, you guys, there's 6 things that you need to do, or that I believe that you need to be doing right now. The first thing is, and arguably the most important thing is, stay encouraged. It's really easy to get discouraged when you hear so many mixed answers, when people keep telling you no, don't do this, don't do that. So you got to stay encouraged. Number two, you have to review and monitor your local housing market. I can go to Redfin myself. I have active MLS, but I went to Redfin myself. It's really easy to track your local housing market. And Redfin gives you the ability to only show you homes with price cuts. So Redfin actually makes that really easy. Study your local housing market. Number three, credit. Make sure your credit is at the optimal credit score increase so that you get the absolute best financing terms. And the best way to do that is obviously no derogatory, don't be late, but utilization ratio. And that only applies to credit cards, which means make sure always that your credit cards are under 30% of your credit line. That's essentially how credit works. There's a lot of little things, but it's about utilization ratio. Second thing, save as much money as possible. One of the best ways to do that is understanding how you spend money right now. I use an app called mint.com to monitor everything. All right. The fifth thing is income. Make sure to pick up another job. You guys, I have 4 kids, 3 jobs. I'm out here working like crazy. Get another job. Be an asset at your current employer. Get overtime. Make sure your income is solid. Number 6, be happy and love your life. All right. Be happy and love your life. Now, those are the main things, you guys. Now, before I fully end this video, you guys, I'm going to bring my man back on my channel and I want to get his take on where he sees interest rates are going to go from 2020 to 2023 and when he may see them going down. Let's start now. Russel Calvert, sir, thank you for joining me on my personal YouTube channel, brother. I know you're super busy. How are you?
I'm glad to be here. I'm doing great, Travis. Appreciate you having me back.
Of course, man. Again, I appreciate you being here. I'll be fast, Russell. Can you tell us where you think interest rates are, residential mortgage rates are going to be this year in 2023, and then when you feel the Fed may pivot?
Yes, obviously that's the question of the day. What are rates going to do? Obviously, I do not have a crystal ball, but I do believe that you might see 1 or 2 rate hikes towards the end of the year, to where right now you've probably seen some 6s. I think they'll get into upper 6s, close to 7%. Next year, towards the end of the year, you're going to see probably a pivot with the Fed and bringing rates back down, trying to get people, out there buying a little bit more aggressively. Regardless where rates are this year, next year, the better qualified and prepared you are, the more favorable your terms will be as far as getting a better rate and things like that. Maybe lower down payment and whatnot. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, no matter what the rates are, and I tell people that all the time, Russell,
Sure.
Do something right now. If you're on the sidelines, don't worry about rates as much, pay attention. But as long as you're taking care of business right now, you're going to get the best bang for your buck, basically. Right.
Absolutely.
So Russell, brother, I always appreciate you, man. I'll probably see you tomorrow at work. And as always, man, have a blessed night and we'll talk to you later. All right.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, definitely show Russell some love. Reach out to him if you have any questions about mortgages or rates, or you need any help or anything of that nature. And as always, if you're out there investing in real estate, I do wish you luck and I hope you win.